Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Homecoming Season 1, Episode 7. It is called Test. So, full spoilers for the episode as always. Only 24 minutes this episode, this flew in.
It did, didn't it?
But, so two things I want to mention just on the music front to begin with.
Hmm.
The scene with Walter in the middle where she was talking to him and he was forgetting things, right? I was like,
Yes.
that sounds really familiar, right? It sounded very Hitchcockian. I was like, I can see this being in one of Hitchcock's movies. It might not be, but since we know it's all source music, it has to be from something.
Yes.
Um, but the one that I did recognise immediately, where I sat forward and went, I think this is this. And then it played for like another couple of seconds about it is, and then the main theme came in. And that was the thing. Um,
Mm.
as Carrasco's leaving the house, Heidi's house,
Yes.
that's the thing that's playing, the main theme. Um, so I was like, okay, all right. Now I know it's all source music. I'm like, okay, that's.
You're listening to it. Did you check out what the one in the
I
middle
did
was?
not. I did not. Kind of one of the things I said last episode or two is that we're getting more and more of the percentage of the episode is spending time in the future, and I
Mm.
definitely felt this here. It felt like it was like 60% that, 40% present.
Yeah.
And maybe that'll keep shifting. Maybe it's just back and forth depending on what's happening. Who knows? But Carrasco is closing in. He sees Walter's mother, who he's seemingly spoken to before. She doesn't seem like shocked by who he is or what he's there for.
No.
And then I mean, she's basically telling him to get lost. And at first I was like, why is she telling him to get lost? I mean, surely she'd want him to look into this. And I wonder if it's because it took 4 years for anyone to look into it. At this point, it's just stay away. I don't want to even talk about it. Leave it alone. I
I I don't know about that.
oh, go on.
Well, I think what she specifically says, "Oh, I don't want you to talk to Walter." Right? She doesn't want him to talk to him,
Yeah,
and I wonder if it's because he doesn't remember very much, and she doesn't want it triggering anything. Doesn't want him
possibly.
being confused.
Regardless, though, she changes her tune when he says that he believes something happened to Walter. That they did something to him specifically. That was the exact
Mm.
phrase. And it's very, I mean, it's very obvious and symbolic. But he's fallen over by this point. He's walked into some bikes on a bike rack, and he actually finishes this conversation while he's still on the ground, sort of nursing his knee. And at the end of this, after he says this, she puts her hand out and he takes it, and it's very symbolic, it's very simple. This is
Yeah.
them joining forces, but she's helping him up. She's going to help him. It's really simple stuff, but it's effective. It works. And has a little speech about how he knows he's just a cog in the machine, and how normally all he does is either elevate the claim so that someone else higher up will look into it, or say that no, that's it, done.
Yeah.
You can ignore it. But he's taken an interest in this. He believes something went on, and he goes by Heidi's house. Heidi's mum lets him in, and is all friendly with him, thinking that he's going to offer her a job or something. Heidi's not happy. They sit down, and he pulls out some SD cards and a little player, um, and he starts playing audio files, and it's the recordings, it's the interviews, and the first one we hear is the first interview that we had
Yeah.
back in the first episode, and she's like, yeah, that sounds like me, but I mean, I don't remember. And he doesn't believe that she doesn't remember. He starts grilling her.
Oh, he is really pressing her, and she's looking panicked because that
Yeah,
she doesn't remember it by this point.
yeah. It's tension's really heating up. Is that Heidi's mum actually hearing this intervenes and kind of makes up an excuse for him to leave?
Yeah, we got that appointment, and then says that he's calling her a liar.
Yeah, because he questions that she was supposed to be at work. Therefore, why would this be set up for now?
Yeah,
He's got a point, but
he does, but you don't question them.
no. So he has to leave, and this is when the thing music kicks in, and I was really into it. And obviously, Colin's watching this. He's in the car. He's keeping an eye on this. He's just swearing constantly at himself. Well, I say himself. He's swearing in the mirror at him at Carrasco,
Mm.
which interestingly does lead us to believe that he was just completely acting last episode, because we were questioning that because he was doing such a good job.
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, everything in this one feels like no, he's just the Colin we thought he was, and that's okay, right?
Yeah,
We can go on with our
go,
lives.
go back to normal.
But what's interesting is Carrasco. We see him in the car afterwards, eating his lunch, and he's listening to more of the tapes. And it's clear that I think he hadn't listened to them all yet, presumably because there was a lot of them. Maybe he's been working through them. And he gets to the one that we heard in this very episode. We get to that interview, which is the main focal point of the present day stuff. It's Heidi asking Walter how he's doing, and then starts asking him about the his comrades, and he can't talk about them. He knows their names, and he's like, "Oh yeah, they died, but I don't really feel anything." And I'm like, "Okay." It's like he's forgetting things.
Yeah, at first he's like, how did you feel? And he's like, I don't really feel anything, and that's clearly the point of what
Yeah.
it's supposed to do.
And then he can't even like describe the day that any of them died. He can't. And then of course she brings up Titanic Rising.
That's what sets it off, because she finishes. It's like, okay, he doesn't remember to feel bad about it. Good. She makes a joke. It's like, oh, get going on Titanic. What does she do? What was the third one called?
Titanic Reborn.
Reborn. And he's just like, what?
The end of the
What are you on
trilogy.
about?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she has to, and she really gets upset and agitated that she's trying to like make him remember. She's like, remember Titanic? This was the other two guys. He's like, oh yeah, I made that up. No, you didn't make it up. It was the other guy who made it up. And like she's really getting agitated about it, to the point where she calls Colin, and as Colin puts it in hysterics, demanding that they do something about this. That the regular memories are also going, and I mean. Honestly, I'm kind of at the point here with Colin where when he says that it's not intentional necessarily that it's taken away all these other memories, the collateral memories.
But it was almost expected.
It was, yeah. It's almost like it wasn't necessarily intentional, but it was either expected or he knew for sure it would and didn't care, or he didn't know for sure it would but didn't care anyway. Like
Yeah, I think probably the same way. He didn't know for sure, but like he says, it's broad strokes here. We're not picking out exact things. You'll have to. It's close enough, right?
Yeah, and then the malicious thing finally drops when he says, "Oh, they'll be ready for deployment in no time," and she's like, "Wait, what? We're sending them back." And it's all about reusing the same soldiers without any of the PTSD of whatever their experiences were.
It comes back to that conversation. I want to say episode 3 or 4 about how much each soldier's worth, how much they invested each one of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you don't want to throw that investment away if you don't have to.
Yeah, you want to reuse them, make them renewable. Yeah. And it's like, well, sending him back, he may get killed. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he comes back, and they do this again. And they keep reusing him. And to what end? At what point do they say, okay, that's him, he's old enough now?
When he is physically incapable of doing the job.
Pretty much. And do they give him a choice even? Like, is he just kind of like told that he's going back, that he's got more duty? Or is the assumption that they will want to redeploy because they won't feel this, this pain anymore?
I assume the latter, that they'll want to redeploy, because I don't think they can just go, right, you're signing back up, that's it, right? I don't think they can do that, but they can kind of manipulate them into
some encouragement,
choosing to volunteer again.
Yeah, on the way out the door. Oh, here's a recruitment here. Hey, how about you do this? And you could
just like, hey, don't forget to sign up for another tour.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Very possibly, but it's funny. I think we were racking our brains as to what the real insidious purpose of all this is, right? Why did they want them to forget? And we were kind of thinking of covert things, like they don't want them to know the shady shit they're making them do and things like that. And it turned out to actually be kind of more simple, but in a way almost more nefarious.
It's far more widespread, because we were thinking, covert. You wipe a team, right? No, this is gonna wipe every soldier.
Potentially, yeah. They'll use it, and they're going to sell it to the DoD. They'll do this to everyone, and everyone gets reused over and over again. No one ever gets to just make the choice to quit because they did. Once their tour's up, make the choice to just, that's me, I'm done, because you know what, I can't go through that again, or I can't live with the pain of what happened, or whatever. And obviously Heidi's horrified by this, and it wouldn't surprise me if this was the last time she called him. If this was the time before she started dodging his calls, because we're on his Walter's week 5 now, and I don't know what week we were on when we first found out about the 15th of May, but we must be getting close.
We've got to be getting close.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, it's episode 7 out of 10. So
yeah. So I mean, worst case scenario, we got 3 episodes.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. The finale. And Heidi steals the envelope, because this is the other thing. I actually predicted this before he said it, but how Walter's mum got all this material, she sent her it. It was her that gave it, almost like before, assuming she did this to herself, which she may or may not have done.
Yeah, I'm not sure anymore.
Either if she did it to herself, then she did that. She sent this off because she wanted Walter's mum to know what happened to him.
Yeah, she
Uh,
felt guilty about what she'd
yeah.
done.
Or she knew they were going to do it to her and did this quickly to make sure that it got out.
Yeah.
Largely for the same reason. I'm sure guilt is not a part of it, but in that context, it might also be a case of this could also help me remember someday, potentially.
Self-preservation as
Yeah.
well, which would line up with Heidi. The way all of the things that she has the best intentions, but they get muddied somehow.
Yeah. So she calls Colin, obviously not knowing that he's Colin, but she hears the name Colin on the tape. She hears it. She hears herself say Colin to when she answers the phone.
Mm.
So she wants to find Colin. She's got an address from the envelope, and she wants to find Colin. So she phones Colin. It says, "I'm going to Tampa," and he tries to talk her out of it, but ultimately suggests that he go with her.
Yeah, just to should have someone along in case anything happens.
Yeah. And again, it's kind of what we're talking about with the signing up to the army again. The idea that he didn't outright say I should go with you, he just suggested that you shouldn't go alone, knowing full
And
well
then
that
she would invite him.
yeah.
Yeah.
So same kind of technique.
It is.
So that's how we end. We end with them driving off to
His
Tampa.
face when he's like, "Oh, what are you looking for?" She goes, "Oh, I'm looking for Colin." His face there is fantastic. He's just like, "Oh shit." He's like, "There better not be any photos of me."
Think of what that moment's going to be though, if she does realize it's him.
I think you mean when she realizes.
Sure, okay, when, but I'm thinking of that moment, assuming he's there, right, as opposed to her finding out after
horror
the fact.
of her realizing.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
And then him explaining it potentially. I liked actually when she called him. It actually was very much like the scenes in the present day stuff where she calls him all the time and he's on his little earpiece.
Yeah.
It was very reminiscent of that. It was like, oh, she's getting close because now she's actually calling Colin again.
That relationship is almost back.
Yeah, that's really, it's a really neat little trick in terms of just a dramatic device of having her do that again before she's actually gotten there and found out it.
Yeah.
So really interesting. But I think we have to go back to Carrasco, listen to the tapes in the car. We never finished that part because I think when he listens to this tape and he's hearing that Walter's forgetting things, I think he might actually starting to be considered the possibility that Heidi
genuinely doesn't remember. Yeah.
And that's interesting because then he is like, was this the purpose of this place?
He's starting to put it together.
Yeah. I was actually worried Colin was going to like walk up beside the car and like shoot him or something like that. I know that I've seen Colin do anything like that specifically, but it was just, we're getting really thriller in the way that it feels.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of getting on edge.
I would say the only thing that's frustrating me a little bit in terms of the thriller-esque plot of it is that we're consistently ahead of Carrasco. And that's just slightly frustrating to be so far ahead of him and kind of just waiting for him to catch up a little bit. Like there's still the drama in watching him get those realizations, don't get me wrong. But from the thriller side of it, it feels a little bit just lacking that we're always ahead of him. There's no reveal for him that can shock us.
I mean, I could see there being one at the end. I could see him finding out something at the end that we don't know, and it'll be the rug getting pulled out from under us. That could be a possibility. I think what it does, because I don't necessarily dispute, but I think that obviously this was a choice to do it this way, and I think what it does is us knowing what there is mostly to find, right, and him not knowing. It gives it this weird sense where he is the one who's constantly being roadblocked. He's constantly coming up against these walls, and we always know what's on the other side for the most part, or we have done.
We have done so far.
Yeah, and I think what that does is that it gives this weird feeling that we are not a part of Homecoming, but like, because we're on the other side, it's a different technique, definitely. Like, because normally the way you play this is you have the audience in the mystery with whoever's trying to figure the mystery out, and in this case, we're somewhere in between him and the actual truth. We're not at the truth necessarily yet.
No, but every time we learn more, we're always 2 steps ahead of him.
Yeah.
And that might change for the end. There could be something that it swerves out.
I think it gives his frustration an extra tinge, or at least a different tinge to what I'm used to. There's something about him being frustrated when we kind of know some of the answers, and he's just not getting the right thing. Which is, I think, what made that moment in the car so satisfying. When you can see it in his face, where he's maybe starting to put this together.
Yeah, I get. That's the thing. I get what they're going for. Just every so often, when I'm waiting for him to catch up, I'm a little frustrated. Like, not intentionally, but I feel myself going, "Come on, it's right there. Just get it, so we can carry on and get to the next bit." I'm just waiting for it. Which I guess is a sign that I'm into the mystery. I want more. I want it to get through it. So him to catch up so we can learn more stuff.
I suppose the counterpoint is that, let's say we didn't, right? Let's say we were playing this in a different order and we didn't know stuff with him. There's the potential that it could actually get too frustrating that he keeps coming up short.
It could, yeah.
So maybe us knowing already kind of mitigates that, and it gives it. So we feel a little bit frustrated because he's not quite getting it, which mirrors his frustration, but not enough to actually necessarily annoy us because we're not getting enough meat in terms of answers.
I mean, I'm not saying they should have done it a different way, because at that point you're kind of looking at a different show.
It never occurred to me, but it's interesting to sit and sort of decide, okay, why did they choose to do this, and what does it do to the story? What effect does it have on the storytelling to have us be a little bit ahead of him almost the whole way?
Yeah, it occurred to me in this episode. It's kind of unusual for in a thriller, at least.
Yeah. It's definitely been more of a Rubik's Cube of a puzzle for us, as we see like different timelines kind of like, and it's become more clear as more of it's coming to sync with each other, but I'm sure there's still a surprise or two left.
Oh, I'm sure.
For the end. Specifically, what happens on the 15th and how Heidi loses her memory. Was it self-inflicted? Was it forced upon her? And that's the question I know how to ask. There's probably other things I don't even know what to ask.
I mean, another one that I want to ask is, does she tell Walter what she's been doing?
I would guess yes. I would guess she feels guilty, and she'll tell him about the meds.
And then the follow-up question is, does he try and get more meds to forget that he was told? Does he choose that? No, I'd rather forget.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. It just those are the questions that come to my mind.
Because that's the other thing, of course, is one of the things Colin says to Heidi on the phone to get her to not change anything or interfere with what's going on is that no, if you take him off the meds in week 5, you read what happened to Schreier, right? He's like tied down in a bed somewhere because his family couldn't handle him. Like, do you want that to happen to Walter? Because if you take him off his meds on week 5, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
it's not a great system, is it?
No, and of course, Colin's very manipulative. Obviously, I mean that's obvious by now, but like that's another example of him being manipulative.
Yeah.
In a more traditional way, not one that's subtle, but one that's a bit more down
it's
to earth.
It's effective though, isn't it?
As opposed to the future stuff where he's pretending to be a stranger and sleeping with her, which is a bit more movie thriller extreme, as it were. But yeah, no, good episode though.
Definitely.
I'm into it. Alright, so we'll be back with episode 8 tomorrow or the day after, so look forward to that. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. And if you do happen to catch what the music's from any of the episodes, do let us know in the comments. Don't let us know about future episodes, but any past episode music that we didn't point out, feel free to tell us. But guys, on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV if you want to support the channel and the show and everything we do here. You can also get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates, but otherwise that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?